We've talked a lot about Albanians and Jews, but we haven't said much about Italians. My parents were born in Italy, and today we have two organizations represented here, the National Italian American Foundation in the back, the 10 people, they're a financial sponsor, and in the front, and John Viola is the Chief Operating Officer. His father's a good friend, Penny Viola, and supported this event. And we have with us also the chairman of the Columbus Citizens Foundation. You know that parade that runs on Fifth Avenue? Well, the Columbus Citizens Foundation runs that parade and dinner. We have Lou Tallerini and his friend Steve Gifford. Thank you, Lou, for We have Connie Morelli here, and she has allowed me to out her publicly. She, believe it or not, her main name is Albanese. She comes from her parents, an Albanian-speaking village in Italy, just as my father did, just as Regent Philbin's mother, Philomena Boscia, who came from my father's town, actually, Gretchen. So I want to show my Italian friends something, and everybody else. Here is a map I took from the National Geographic magazine. They put it in after Shirley and I brought them to Italy to visit these Albanian-speaking villages. They couldn't believe it. They had called me because they had my website. They needed someone to move on to Sova. They wanted me to come to look at the refugees crossing the Straits of Otranto. Here it is, only 45 miles between Albania and Italy. That's how tens of thousands of Albanians in the 15th century sought refuge and asylum when the Ottoman Turks overran Albania. Well, today there are, and they were nice enough to do as National Geographic, all these little dots you see are the 51 Albanian-speaking villages today. My father came here in 1929 speaking only 2 languages, and one of them wasn't English, Albanian and Italian. And you'd say, how could that happen? The Albanian people are incredible. When they want to keep something, they keep it. And a little history lesson. Queen Tayuda was beaten by the Romans in 150 BC. They couldn't beat the Illyrians. Finally, she succumbed. But the Albanians became a big part of the Roman Empire. Emperors, they had several popes, and whatnot. It was only when the Ottomans emerged in the second millennium that we understood that there was a problem. But guess what the biggest army was in the 15th century that had to be brought in by the Pope, by the Kingdom of Naples, Kingdom of Spain, to Italy to defend against the French, which were coming in to take over the southern part of Italy. I don't know if the Italian ambassador is here. It was called the Battle of Apulia, 1461. George Castriati left his battle with the Sultan, brought 4,000 soldiers across the Adriatic, his best soldiers, and in 2 days the battle was over. Otherwise, my Italian friends would be speaking French today. That's what Now, before I forget, there is, believe it or not, in the room, an Albanian family that was recognized by Yad Vashem, the Nossi family. I guess they live in Maryland, and they saved a family of Jews called Menahem, I believe, and Gregor, the son, is here. Is that you, Gregor? Yes. Stand up. This is running around, that is an official certificate from Yad Vashem. I'd like to have it back. All right? But in any case, you know, again, just to follow up, one of the things that we're going to do, Shirley and I are very tenacious, let's say, and persistent. And the Albanians represent an unusual situation for the Jewish Yad Vashem. Why? Because for 47 years, the communist government never allowed the Jews who were rescued to connect with the Albanians who rescued them. But they received the letters, took them, and put them in the archives. That was the file I had. So one of the things that we're going to do, our Albanian American Foundation, and civically, Shirley and I, are we're going to lobby Yad Vashem to make an exception for the Albanian people, because people like Ari Felichkai cannot get the award because there's a strict rule that someone has to be alive to give verbal testimony personally before that happens. Well, in the Albanians' case, look how many people died in 47 years after World War II. So it's not really fair. So the job, our job is not finished out here. We're still going to try to get that medal for your father. Okay? While we recognize his soul, while we hope to get this real to recognize his soul. Now, let me finish this little history, geography lesson. Here it is, 45 miles. Now, why do I say this? We have to thank Italy for letting tens of thousands of Albanians across to allow them not only safety, but to continue their language, their traditions, their culture. And today, in these 51 villages, guess what the government of Italy does? It pays for the Albanian language to be taught in writing and verbally to kids up to the 8th grade. We don't have that population. Connie, you can start coming out because we want to hear from Connie Morella. See this over here? When the Albanians came across, they built a huge fort and castle. Why? Because they knew the Turks were going to come after 1488. They did come in 1525, but they were weakened so much by the Albanian general George Castriati and the siege of Skodra. Once they fought here and lost, that was it. They couldn't take over the rest of Europe. So you might say that the Albanians prevented Europe from being totally Islamicized if they had not done what they did. But here a castle was built. It was so big in Calabria that they called it the Albanian castle. Now, my Italian friends, I have to tell you this. Calabria is not an Italian word. It's two Albanian words. Kalaya, Albria. Kalaya meaning castle, Albria meaning Albania.